Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's so good to have you here. I hope you can hear me okay. Welcome if you're new, and welcome back if you've been here before. It's so great to have you. As some of you may know already, I am currently a psychology student, minoring in neuroscience. So throughout my YouTube, I kind of just talk a lot about what I've been studying and just share some insights in psychology aspects. And it's also a great revision tool for me as well to talk to you about it and consolidate all the many theories and knowledge that's been pushed into my brain, I guess. But today, I guess I also want to talk about. I know I've been going through a lot of series, and I guess it will kind of organize itself eventually in the long run. And I'm back. Sorry, just somebody was coming through the door. But yeah, today, amongst the many series that I have started, I kind of just go on different topics because it's a lot to talk about. There's so much to talk about. So I guess having these kind of like single releases is also very helpful for me as well to just share the many things that is out there in psychology. So today, a very interesting and personal topic I'd like to talk about is autism. Autism, known as the autism spectrum disorder, what it is, how it presents, what are the early onsets of autism, and yeah. I'm also doing a 75-kilometer run for autism this month. Run, walk, swim. So check out the links for that below. And I think during the midst of this, a bit of I think autism is a very hot topic right now. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like it's very widely discussed right now because a lot of people kind of just, it's like they know autism, but they don't actually know what it is. And I guess nobody really does. It's still being highly studied. There's a lot of theories about autism that's out there. So, yeah, let's just break most of it down. I don't think I'll be able to go into detail about everything, and I probably won't even be like able to cover everything, but will cover the main things on autism, and I think there are many misconceptions along with many theories that have arisen. Yeah, let's get started with autism, known as the autism spectrum disorder. So in the name autism spectrum disorder itself, there's the word spectrum. And what the word spectrum means is it's an umbrella. It's like a massive spectrum range of disorder. So autism itself doesn't really it's not sufficient. Like it's not, I don't know what it's not sufficient, but it's just so broad. It is just such a broad diagnosis that if you meet one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. And I think when I first learned about this was very hard for me to wrap my head around because I just wanted to know what autism is and what it looks like. But because it is a spectrum, it could just look in so many different ways. But there are two main things you have to be classified as in order to have autism, which is number one, social communication difficulties. So usually people with autism have a social inability to socialize appropriately. But then again, this could also be masked. So I understand that there are autistic people, adults especially, that mask very well and communicate and socialize just fine. But if you break it down, socializing and communicating isn't just like how you speak to others, but it's how you present in a social context and how being with other people feel for you. So some autistic people, even though they can communicate very well, some can communicate very well, and some are non-verbal, which they don't speak at all. But the people that communicate very well have difficulties being in social settings, and that's also a form of having a social difficulty where it's very hard for them to be in a social setting. This is also off script, so excuse me if I go a bit all over the place. Also off script again. So I think these single release series, this also helps me kind of go off script instead of just going through the things I'm studying all the time. Anyways, back to it. So the other So number one is social communication difficulties, and the other one is repetitive behaviors. So repetitive rigidity kind of behaviors where you see an autistic person would tend to do the same thing over and over and over again, and that's a big trait of autism as well, where they just prefer routine. Some don't. Again, spectrum. Some prefer, but this is a generalized idea that autistic people tend to prefer routines. They like things being the same, and they tend to line things up. So apparently that's one of the fun clues if your kid has autism is if they like to line things up and things are in a very particular order. I know a kid that used to just like line things up in like rainbow colored order. So it's just everything was in particular order, particular place, particular setting, and it's just a way I feel like autistic people do to kind of organize their thoughts, and it's just the way their brain works. This is why you find so many autistic people that are high functioning. And what I mean by high functioning is that there's 3 levels of autism: level 1, 2, and 3. And level 3 means severe, that requires substantial assistance in everyday life. And that's level 3, severe. So a lot of these people with level 3 autism, you will see they're unable to use the bathroom appropriately. They're unable to communicate. Some of them are still nonverbal. And this is the spectrum. This is the spectrum categorized into 3 very broad, again, categories. There's level 3, which is severe, highly severe. Level 2, which is severe, but not well, the guideline says it needs substantial. It needs support. They need support. So is it substantial? I think number 3 needs very substantial support, but number 2 just needs substantial support. Whereas level 1 autism needs support. So it's not substantial. Level 1 used to be known as well as Asperger's syndrome. So Asperger's syndrome was kind of like a term coined by Hans Asperger's, I believe in the early 1900s. I don't know the exact date. I'm not good with dates, like the 19 something, but I know Hans coined the term very early on as Asperger's syndrome, but it kind of just described people with level 1 autism, where they're extremely intelligent, gifted people that just struggled to socialize, I believe. There's a whole book that goes through the whole history of autism and neurodiversity. So when you say neurodiversity, if you're not familiar with that means, neurodiversity means neuro, which is your brain, neuroscience, neurology, which is all has to do with your brain. Diversity means it's a diverse brain, so it's different brain, basically neurodiversity. Whereas neurotypicals, typical brain people, it just means that they just have a different brain. So again, another misconception that I'd love to address is that neurodiversity. Oh, this is a debate. This is a very common debate where even people with neurodiversity would argue that it's a disability, whereas others would argue that it's not a disability, where it's just a different brain. But to say that it's just a different brain and not call it a disability could hold a lot of people back from receiving the substantial support that they do need to adjust in everyday life. Because whether we like it or not, we live in a world that's not made for neurodiversity. It's not made for kids on the spectrum. Even if you go to a shopping center, you would see that everything is very high stimulating. It's lights, it's music, it's people, we wouldn't even think about this. As neurotypicals, we won't think about how this might affect people with a diverse brain. So if you were to bring all the lights down, make it a bit more sensory friendly, shopping centers might be a more accessible place for everyone. However, there's a lot of guidelines and a lot of things we'd have to do to get that done. Hopefully in the future, it's already changing in a very big way. There's a lot more quiet rooms. I've even noticed there's even trains where there's quiet times on trains, which is so fascinating. Neurodiversity is a whole thing. And another common question people ask, I feel, is where does autism come from? What causes autism? Is it the food we eat, the diet? Is it the vaccines? Is it what causes autism? And there's obviously a lot of debate on this. And I think it could be anything. I still think it could be anything. I mean, genetic factor is like the number one explanation that's commonly acceptable across the board, but genetics only accounts for like 2%. Like when you say something is genetics, that's only like 2%, which is crazy, of like the actual cause, because genetics is so big, genetics is so vast. It's like just putting genetics on it doesn't actually explain anything, and I learned this as a student. So genetics and environment is like a 50-50 chance. And even so, saying something that is caused by genetics is only 2% of that 50%, because we can't take into factor everything that is genetics. And so, yeah, research is ongoing, but I think we can't rule out anything. We can't rule out genetics. We can't rule out environmental factors. We can't even rule out diet. I think the best way to look at it is that it is a neurodiversity, which is a different brain, but that it won't stop millions and millions of people to go out on the hunt of cures for autism, which some says they find. A lot of people say they find cures for autism. I've heard it many times that changing the diet cured my autism. Getting a what's it called, a detox cured my autism. And what else do they do? They start to do, I think, cell implantations or something like that. I know it's a lot of things that they're doing to cure autism, and it just depends on where you sit. Whether you want your autism to be cured, which I guess who doesn't, but at the same time, the research and the evidence just does not. It's not research enough. I'm not saying that there's no evidence supporting it. It's just there hasn't been enough research done to support it. But give it 100 years, who knows? Give it 100 years. Give it 100 few years. I reckon in the future there might be a cure for autism, or there might not be, because I don't want to get my brain's getting a bit controversial. Like cures for cancer, some people argue that the cure for cancer is already out there, but yeah, it's just I don't know. Who knows? Off topic. We're going off topic. Let's bring it back. Autism is a neurological difference. I want to say deficiency. It's like in the brain, what's happening when you're autistic is like so many theories. There's the theories that I've recently learned, which is very new. It's been done like last year in rats. And there's like there's a process in the brain called pruning. So the microglia, which is a brain, I don't want to call it a cell. I don't know what do you call it? It's like microglia is a cell. Is it a cell? Is it a neuron? Neuron? No, I can't remember now. But microglia is this process where it prunes the cells from the neuronal dendrites that's in your brain in early childhood. So this process, apparently, with autistic people, there's a deletion of a T-MEM55 membrane, which is another protein that's naturally in your brain, but because autistic people don't have this membrane, this T-MEM59, which is a transmembrane 59. And apparently that causes autism. So many theories. But you could ask what made that deletion of the T-MEM59 membrane happen in the first place, which we don't know. And at the end of the day, I guess my conclusion for autism is that while it is very highly diagnosed, because it's such a big spectrum, so I think a lot of people would fall under this category of autism, the research is very limited. There's a lot of research. I'm not saying that limited in the sense where people are not doing research on it. I'm saying there's just so much research that it's kind of, in my own opinion, it's kind of like a hot mess right now. It's like people researching this, people researching that. It's like, it kind of depends on where you sit that influence your research as well, I feel. So to close off with the recent announcements from President Trump. I hate to bring up politics, but he did make a big claim on autism that Tylenol causes autism. Maybe he couldn't. I mean, it's one study, right, or a few studies. I don't know how many studies. I feel like it was one. Like I think I read there was only one. I didn't do the research on it, so I'm not gonna disprove anything on that. But again, like I've mentioned this whole time about research, it is very, very nuanced. Is the word I want to use. It's not clear. It's not clear cut. Nothing's clear cut. So even though he's saying that Tylenol might cause autism, he's not saying this is the only reason. This is Tylenol. Get rid of Tylenol and you won't have autism. That's not. I don't think that's the case. But to say that it is a potential cause, maybe anything is a potential cause. Just breathing our air could be a potential cause. To be honest, anything is a potential cause. So I know a lot of people are angry with the comment and disregards it and say that it's crazy. And also a lot of people are taking shots of Tylenol pregnant. I wouldn't do that because, like I said, it's a potential cause. And there's nothing we can do other than have faith and hope for the best. Honestly. Yeah. I think that's where I sit. I sit very, very neutral. I don't know if there's a cure for autism. And would I try to find it? Maybe, because I think I'd want the best for my child. And so if there was a way to help them get better and just get better in the sense where they can just function without anxiety, without fear, and without so much struggle, then I'll do it for sure. I'll definitely do it. But at the same time, I would also just lean on faith, a lot of faith, and believe that whatever happens is for the best. No matter which route we pick. I hope that's been helpful. I'm sorry if it went on a bit of rampage there. This is why I go on the script, and I probably will have to go back on script next week, guys, because I talk too much and I don't even know if this is helpful, and I kind of ramble on. And I mean, if you actually made it all the way here, thank you. I appreciate you. You have a good day. Thanks, guys. Bye.